So we did a poll, and we're gonna be doing this for Knicks Weekly now. Instead of us deciding who the player of the week is, we might as well let the fans decide, right? It is the people show after all. So we did take a poll from the fans. Who was your player of the week this week? And the fans have picked. The winner is Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson edges Julius Randle. And we took a poll on Twitter as well as the YouTube community section. And Brunson won. On both polls, respectively, around 60% to 30%. 60% Jalen Brunson edging out Julius Randle, man. And Brunson had a pretty solid week. 17-6-2 against the Grizzlies. 15-9-6 against the Pistons. 2 of 4 from downtown and 1 for 4 downtown in respective games. But the most important stat, Al, Jalen Brunson, no turnovers so far in this early season, man. No turnovers. What's been your impressions of Brunson in these first two games?
Cool, calm, and steady. When you look at these numbers, it's not eye-popping, but the overall play is just something we haven't seen since when we had Raymond Felton and Jason Kidd, right? Just a steady quarterback for this offense. And when I watch Jalen Brunson just facilitate and just operate the offense, there's like a level of calm where I'm not worried what's going to happen next. I feel like 9 out of 10 times he's going to make the right decision, and that's what you need out of your point guard. 9 out of 10 times you need the right decision. It's very hard for everyone to play a perfect game, but as long as you're making the right decision most of the time, that's all I can ask for. You talk about 15-9-6 against the Memphis Grizzlies in OT. You talk about 17-6-2 against the Detroit Pistons. That's, even though he struggled shooting against the Memphis Grizzlies, I understand why he would win player of the week. And it's just for his floor game too, right? Taking that charge against Ja, we talked about it during post game when we were at the 40-40 club. That's 10 out of 10 right there. The fact that the awareness to know what Ja is going to do and be prepared that he's going to run right down the middle of the lane and to take the charge to then help take it to overtime. Those are high IQ plays. And we haven't had that type of play from a point guard. And so even though he hasn't had, the major numbers like the 25 points, the 30 points in these wins, the overall level of play has just been phenomenal from Jalen Brunson that it can't go unnoticeable. The fact that everyone, when we were there, once again was saying, we got a point guard. We got a point guard.
Yeah.
It's you can't not notice it at this point. The fact that the offense just moves that much more smoothly, it's great. So I understand totally why it's Jalen Brunson over Julius Randle.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's only 2 games, but he's been as advertised, and he's fit in seamlessly with his team so far. Steady hand. It's what we've expected when we got him. A steady hand, solid decision making, low turnovers, and he's coming here and he's picked up right where he left off from Dallas. Steady hand, low turnovers. Knows when to force the issue, knows when to pass it, can't get sped up. And his defense, he's competing on the defensive end. Drew a key charge against Ja, drew a key charge in the Detroit game as well. And so, what's not to like, man? And then, seeing him in person in that Detroit game and just seeing his footwork in the paint, how he creates separation to get his shot off. He's been solid, man. He's been absolutely solid. Executed the play to put this game in overtime, to put the Memphis game in overtime, getting it to Cam in the corner for 3. And so, Brunson's just doing all the dirty work, man. He's not the rah-rah guy, but he's the guy that's leading by example. And Tibbs' quote after the Detroit game was that he has a great understanding of the game. I think that's probably the most important thing. He says, I think how you manage and control the game is another strength, but usually when you analyze turnovers, they fall into one of 2 categories. They're either risky passes that you're trying to thread the needle, or you're going too much one-on-one, and he has a great feel for when to go and when to pass. That was Tibbs' comment on Jalen Brunson. And then he talked about some of the hustle plays of drawing charges and giving himself up to save the ball. I think those hustle plays do nothing but unite and inspire the team. So Tibbs has been nothing but speaking highly of the kid since he's got here. And hey, it's a breath of fresh air, man. That's all I could say. It's a breath of fresh air.
Absolutely. And, there is a strong case for Julius Randle. I mean, look, he got you 24 points, 6 assists, 11 rebounds against Memphis. It was a key component in that third quarter run to get us back in the game. Had a solid outing. Once again, it wasn't eye-popping. He had 15 points, 6 rebounds, no assists, but he shot very well overall. Shot 66%, even 67% from three, 42% from the field within 25 minutes. Very efficient night for him. But, even when you watch Julius Randle, it comes down to the late game execution that we talked about against Memphis, just getting ticky-tacky fouls. Like, you're a veteran. You've been on this team. You know what's expected of you. Sure, you could say the same thing for Jalen Brunson. But the thing for Julius is that, late game fouls, knowing where you are, arguing, just keeping your head in the game. That's all 4 quarters, and that's what we've been seeing from Jalen Brunson, and that's what we need from him. And then against the Detroit game, I feel like that even though that was a solid game, if he didn't have that foul and those poor late game executions against Memphis, I would say you'd probably have to give it to Julius Randle just because of how effective he's been. But even when you watched him against Detroit, there were some moments where, why didn't you get that loose ball when it was a missed shot, right? We can nitpick all day, and we could do the same thing for Jalen Brunson. But for me, it really comes back down to, you're a veteran. You're supposed to be cool, calm, and collected when it comes down to late game execution. And those fouls were poor when we needed it most, trying to beat the Memphis Grizzlies.